Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
He says one man no chop. But yeah, but I think that that makes the issues too simplistic. That there is an imperative to separate party from state, party from government. I think that every party that is elected into government has a duty to ensure that the party is always separate from state. A few things it does. One of the things that actually does is that you have another level of accountability, that because you would also have somebody sitting there watching. You also have somebody sitting aside the Ghanaian who is watching you. You have a party that perhaps sponsored and drew your agenda for you. It's watching you and reminding you that, boss, where you are going is not what the party sold to the people. So there are different ways of looking at it, but I think that the bigger issue is separating party from state is one of the first arguments that you can make in favor of what they are doing. It rarely happens. Anyway, Mustafa Gbande is Deputy General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, taking us to 5 minutes past 8. And thank you very much for joining us. And good morning to you.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
I hope you're well. I hope you're well.
Yeah, I'm fine, sir.
Yes. In fact, I know it was on another agenda that we called you, but I also thought that maybe a bit of context will help on this particular issue. Are you affected by the one man no chop thing?
Good morning, and good morning to your cherished listeners. I think that basically there is no issue of one man no chop within the context of the reorganization and the guidelines that we have put out. And also looking at every step in the way, including the commentaries that came behind the conversation by the General Secretary, does not in any way suggest that there is a conflict and a struggle of one man no chop in our government and in the NDC. But I might say that the General Secretary, when he was reading the document, made a very passing comment, as we all do. And if you watched him, he laughed at the time. But the crux of the matter is that history, from our analysis, have proven that one of the reasons why political parties lose elections or get endangered by election activities subsequent upon being in power is that we usually weaken the party structure. We all get into government and we forget the vehicle that drives all of us to the promised land. And so we have taken a very strong position that is important we persuade our colleagues who are at the limelight, the principal actors of government, to focus in pursuing that agenda, help the president on whose legacy the party is going to work into 2028 to deliver on his mandate. So that, whereas that is ongoing, concurrently, we should keep the structure of the party active, we should keep it strong, we should make it very viable to be able to meet the objectives of the party. And so, for me, these decisions which we took, and we took the decision, in fact, we went to FEC with it. FEC discussed and approved. It went to NEC twice. The first one was that for anyone who had been appointed at that level in the beginning should step aside. And then the argument was that, okay, look, it was a novelty that the president had introduced. And it is not the fault of an officer of the party who have worked so hard, then the president recognizing the person's effort and giving him a position within government. So therefore, we should give ample time so that people will be able to finish their unfinished businesses as executives of the party. So the concession was that, okay, we'll reintroduce the bill to look at your coming to contest the election subsequent or after you have finished your one-year term. In fact, in the next meeting, which we recently attended, majority of the people in that room were all appointees. And the decision came, we discussed it, we looked at the feasibility. There were those who proposed 1 year. There were those who proposed 3 months. But after deliberation and discussion, we agreed that 6 months would be more appropriate, so that at that time, it gives a level playing field for anyone who want to take the choice at that level to leave the government and come and contest, or you stay within government, so that our colleagues who are neither within government or within the party structure can also help step in for us to do the party well. Look, as I speak right now to you, you cannot write home that executives who are current appointees are not helping the party. They are helping in diverse ways. Financially, logistically, they are supporting. But their presence, physical presence within the party structure is not there. Not because of any fault of theirs, because they are doing some very important business of government. I just returned from Central Region to go and work. That is because I have some time on my hands, virtually doing party work wherever. If other colleagues have those times, they will do it. But if you are a CEO, a managing director, or a minister, at what point in time will you abandon all the official responsibilities and doing party work? So you realize that the energy and the output will not be efficient. That is all the General Secretary have sought to do. And the General Secretary is a conveyor of neck decision. This decision is a decision of the party, and we stand by it. Now, there are few appointees who are misbehaving. There's no two ways about it. And some of us have made our mind very clearly known about that. In the coming days, we expect that the leader of the party and the president will himself come to an appreciation of the behavior and conduct of some appointees towards party people. And Sana, you can build roads and bridges. If the party that brought you to power is left to rot, you have no position to run into the future. If the party, the people who have helped you into power, do not see that they are being appreciated, then you have a trouble to contend with. And so we should not let it look as if the decision is merely to punish our colleagues, merely to disadvantage them, want to protect ourselves. No, it is in the good interest of the party and the government that these decisions are taken.
Did you also consider the age-old practice where people are allowed to stay in the position, contest? If they win, then they resign and move from the government position to the party position. Was that also on the table?
So that old decision was what was tabled initially. That once you have been appointed by the grace of God and the magnanimity of His Excellency the President, and clearly you will not have the opportunity to be active in doing party work, you have to pave way for others to be reappointed. Look, I have regional ministers. If you take Volta regional minister, for example, he resigned. And he made his deputy secretary the acting regional secretary of the party.
The Volta regional minister is no longer the secretary of the party?
No.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I thought he still held that position. No,
he stepped aside and made his deputy secretary an acting officer. So these are the old principles. So when that decision came, there were a bit of concerns, and I was one of the principal persons who argued that it was not fair to ask the appointees to resign at that point in time, because we had won election. People have unfinished businesses within the party. Let them hold their positions up to the end of their tenure, so that subsequently we'll streamline these decisions. So that was what it is.
I am also referring to the situation where you've decided that they should stay in office and finish their term. So why not, instead of asking them to resign if they intend to seek a renewal of their mandate, why not allow them to still stay in the office, go and contest, and then if they win, they leave the government position and move into the party position? Was that also under consideration?
Two things will happen. You may not be offering a level playing field for individuals to contest the elections. Two, by the time you are getting into this period, the party structure would have been grounded to the ground, and that is disastrous. And we are not willing to sit back and watch the party structure become weak. That one is a no-no. It's not going to happen. We'll keep the party as strong as it was in opposition, by the grace of God, with the commitment of members. Whatever it takes, we will do that. And so there is nothing wrong if you have to resign at this point. And we shouldn't make it the business of a conflict between those who are appointees and party office. No, because mind you, it is those who are appointees, who are colleagues, who support the party structure to function. So it is impossible that anybody had contemplated that this decision is to fight anybody. No. And let me clarify. It only affects ministers, deputy ministers, DCEs, regional ministers, CEOs, deputy CEOs, managing directors, deputy managing directors, and analogous portfolios. So portfolios such as coordinators, national coordinator of this, they are equivalent to CEO position. They and their deputies are affected by this. The only category of people who are not affected has to do with presidential staffers, ambassadors, and all other appointments of persons into a position which does not make them principal officers of the organization. Because your responsibility is not as high as a managing director. So, for example, we have colleagues who have been appointed from the regional level to be PROs and all of these at some institutions. They are not affected by this decision. So it is not the way people are trying to let it look. And I'm not going to ask my constituency executive who is working at NYEP or National Health Insurance or any other place to resign before he contests a position. No, that is not what the decision is.
And for the purpose of clarity, you're saying that this is not the decision of the General Secretary. It's the decision of NEC, made up of majority of appointees.
And let me say that it was actually a unanimous, yes, it's a NEC decision. National Executive Committee of the party, which composed of delegations from members of parliament, government representations, functional executive committee, and then all frontline officers of every region. So if you don't attend the meeting, we will not come and put ropes into your neck to drag you into meeting. But the people who were present, if they constituted a quorum for the purposes of business of NEC, we normally move on. And in this case, all the regional executives were present. All national officers were present. Some MPs were there. In fact, the majority leader was there. We called them. They came. They were briefed. Everybody was there when we took this decision. So it is not for people to take this thing to be insulting your general secretary. And in any case, Senna, why should we take the appetite to insult party leaders, even if we don't agree with a certain position they have taken? It doesn't depict discipline and orderliness. And with the greatest of respect, we cannot be in charge of a party where we seemingly are not able to manage the people we lead. NDC can't be that organization. It can only happen in the NPP. And we have seen it. So I want to indulge members of the party that we have necessarily to be circumspect, very decorous in terms of our utterances on social media when it comes to party leadership. Even ministers, you have colleagues who will insult ministers of state because they've done something which you don't agree with. From where you sit, how does the minister consult you to do his work? Do you know what went into his decision? I have seen personally how some of our friends have brought ministers under attack. Personally, I have come under attack. There are some points the national chairman of the party came under such attack. The general secretary of the party comes under such attack. Is that the same leader you expect to lead your party into the promised land? Do you know the implication? That you develop an appetite to want to attack and insult and run down the leadership of your party in public. It doesn't matter how wrong the person is. We can use other mediums. For the reason that the person occupies a very high office in your party. So I beg our colleagues and members of our party, it doesn't matter how much you disagree. There are always ways to also help your executive to succeed. Other than seeking and thinking that whatever decision they take must stand with you at where you sit. If you don't run a party like that. So if I have 20,000 or 30,000 or 40,000 or 2 million members that I'm leading as a deputy general secretary, when I have to take a party decision, I should go around and consult all the members before I take the decision. Senna, is that how to run a party? Do they want the NDC to be like the NPP? So I'm pleading this morning and using this platform as an opportunity to reaffirm our commitment that leadership of the party would at all times that best serves this party for the time being. And so when they feel that some decisions are taken, some actions are taken, some commentaries are made, and they disagree, we should give it a softer face because of the persons who are involved. I don't mind if you call me and you insult me because I've done something, but you don't go on air to insult me and expect the same person to go working in a way that benefits you, the individual.
I see. Anyway, I'll turn to one of the things shortly. But before that, I realized that you issued a magnanimous statement, actually signed by the national chairman of the party. But the conclusion of the statement, when it comes to the NPP, message from the NDC to the NPP after their Congress, the conclusion is quite interesting. We have also taken note of the reconciliatory concession statement from the other unsuccessful candidates and hope that they will walk the talk. Why? If the NPP splits, does it not make your job easier?
No. One, when you are in government, you at all times expect a very stable political atmosphere. And that confusion and chaos from the opposition elements affect the stability of the country's democratic or political temperature. In the last 2-3 months, the landscape has been inundated with politically unethical behaviors. Look, to the extent that you have persons who feel it is okay to discuss how one person is sleeping with another person's wife, one person is sleeping with another person's girlfriend, only because the person is bidding to become a president, a flag bearer of the NPP. You have had all the denigrative comments that they have made. When you do that, you introduce doubt on the credibility of the entire political class. So, aiding the unsuccessful candidates to walk their talk is to help sanitize the polluted political environment because of the NPP. Again, what it means is that we are watching whether these people will be able to come back again to come and tell the people of Ghana to accept the candidate who have been elected among them after everything they have, said about them. So if you told me that Dr. Baumia is incompetent and he's a liar, how are you going to come back to tell the people of Ghana that suddenly, because it was primaries, that comment was justified, but national elections will accept that person as president? And so that is the context within which that statement was issued and the message that you have just read. I feel pity for the NPP because, and it doesn't mean complacence, but it just means that the NPP we know has metamorphosed into a group of inexperienced political hands, lacking advice, lacking good governance or administrative governance, lacking political strategy, because you have gone to use illegitimate or illegal executives to elect a new flag bearer at the back of a defeat.
Illegitimate.
You have just been defeated. Your party is naturally going through rehabilitation and healing because people are hurt due to greed and abandonment of the party structure. You have not reorganized the base. You have not gone to apologize the base. So, for example, how is the NPP going to make sense that 8 years in government, Ashanti region, where they got their votes, after Kumauba election, even the promises they made there, taking machines to construct roads, they never fulfilled those promises. Never built a single factory in Ashanti region. Never built a single hospital in Ashanti region. Even the ones President Mahama constructed, abandoned same in the bushes. The schools that were built in Ashanti region, you abandoned. Gabi comes out with a report that MPs from Ashanti region came together to say they don't want roads in Ashanti region. You have not gone to apologize to the people. You have not taken collective responsibility for the defeat and the suffering of the ordinary NPP member. Yet, in the midst of all of that, you have gone to elect a flag bearer. I can assure you, Senator, that after 1 year, after they have organized themselves, they will come to one simple conclusion, that the flag bearer is not fit for purpose. And I see the NPP going back for another flag bearer election. One, Baumia is a substandard candidate, a candidate that doesn't meet the threshold of presidential material. He is naturally dishonest, and we all know that. He lies publicly. Two, he's been inconsistent intellectually, moving from an economist to an IT specialist who is leading digitalization. And even that digitalization was a hoax. We all know that. Number three, we now know that Dr. Mahmoud Baumia is coterminous to President Akufo-Addo. So the name Mahmoud Baumia is an extension of President Akufo-Addo's political legacy. How will Dr. Mahmoud Baumia explain to the people of Ghana that the 8 years of fraud, 8 years of mismanagement, misgovernance will be justified to aid him to be a president of the Republic of Ghana? How is he going to do that? So for me, lessons are learned, we've observed, that will inform how the NDC will organize ourselves. And for me, it is not an issue of whether or not we disregard what they have done or what they have not done. But the reality is that Baumia is not fit for purpose. Look, President Akufo-Addo pretended that he wasn't supporting Baumia, but that was a lie. They were doing that to again deceive the public, so that you and I will think that, oh, Baumia is a man of his own. And as soon as they finish primaries, President Akufo-Addo appears on the stage and comes to make a first statement and say that I have confidence that my vice president will win and build economy. Which economy is President Akufo-Addo talking about? The one that his own cousin destroyed and stole from?
Interesting. When, by your timetable, when do you intend to do the flag bearer elections?
The flag bearer election is coming immediately after December. So we are looking at somewhere June or so of 2027.
June 2027.
It's immediately after the national election.
Hmm. That's more than 1 year after they've elected their flag bearer.
Well, more than 1 year of electing a substandard flag bearer.
Hmm. But also more than 1 year much ahead of you, which means their flag bearer will have worked.
No, we are the same because we are now
over
going
1 more year.
We are now going to reorganize our party. And once we reorganize our party, it is not the candidate that wins election. It is the party that wins election. So if your party is not ready, the candidate cannot win election. The party is like octopus. It exists throughout. So when the party takes steps to make the candidate, then the candidate will succeed. So you have elected a candidate who is now going to go around begging everybody, including the ones his campaign people have insulted. They have said some people's brains were open. So will those brainless people come and campaign for the NPP?
Mm.
They have said a woman's pant is very big because he's not supporting Baumia. Will that big pant woman come and campaign for Baumia again? And in any case, if Baumia had not won the election, then it will surprise some of us because just 1 year ago, they had a similar election by the same category of delegates. Did you forget? With Kennedy and Baumia. That was in 2024. And when they did it, in Ashanti region, about 45% or 55% of Ashanti region people didn't trust Baumia to become president. Do the mathematics of what he got in their primaries with Kennedy Japan, what he got now. What is the difference? What is the difference?
What significance would that have?
It demonstrates numerical justification of your candidature. Numerical justification. The same group of people, within just a year, the same group of people elected you. About 38% of all the NPP members in Ghana didn't trust in your candidature, which cumulated into your 38% of national election results. So do the math. When you do the math, compare what he got now. Look at the current happenings in the NPP and look at the legacy of President Akufo-Addo on which the party is going to drive on.
But does it not give him more time to be able to, because now he's been elected, he has more time to be able to unite the grassroots, engage in reconciliation among others, in preparation for the elections?
Repackage a thief and make him a king?
What?
That you believe that you can repackage a thief and make him a king?
Why are you using that?
The legacy of President Akufo-Addo is something that should attract him nothing but a suspension from the NPP.
But he's not President Akufo-Addo. He's Dr. Baumia.
No, but Dr. Baumia has no foundation. His foundation is Akufo-Addo.
His foundation is Akufo-Addo.
His foundation is President Akufo-Addo. Akufo-Addo is his trainee, his trainer. Akufo-Addo is his godfather. President Akufo-Addo was his president, where he became a vice president. The NPP people have told you and I that, but for President Akufo-Addo single-handedly insisting, there was no way President Baumia would become a running mate of the NPP because Baumia was NDC. So it is President Akufo-Addo's responsibility. Now, as soon as they finish the primaries, the most singular, most excited person of Baumia's win was President Akufo-Addo. That is why he took a stage to speak. So how are you going to differentiate President Akufo-Addo's legacy from Dr. Mahmoud Baumia? The man who was doing cherry picking. So if it was about performance within government, no, but Dr. Bawumia was not there. But if it's about digitalization, he can take credit for it. So you are going to rebrand this person to come and impose him on the people of Ghana as president to do what? What is new? Has he gone to any new school? Have you heard Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who has held economic lectures, come to lecture in the last 1 year, at least to tell Ghanaians whether or not this government is doing well or doing bad? Who was he deceiving? In terms of even digitalization, didn't Bawumia have anything to say that, okay, President Mahama's 1 year, my digitalization vision is dead or it is still on the move? That the end effect of their digitalization, that the whole country's health infrastructure was handed over to one individual, private individual. That is what you understood by digitalization. Tell me how Bawumia is going to explain to Ghanaians how they took the decision in cabinet to construct a national cathedral that cost this country so much millions of dollars. Cases are still in court. That cost this country about $98 million. And yet the money have been chopped and the hole was dark. Please, educate me how he's going to explain that. Explain to me how a finance minister who has led a country for the first time has fled from this country, and he will not account to the people of Ghana. He will not help trace some of the stolen funds that we believe were stolen. Justify that to me, how Bawumia is not affected by it. Explain to me how Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, as head of economic management team, believed that in trying to restore the strength of our economy, we should go and seize pensioners' money. Pensioners. Can you tell me how they are going to justify the banking sector cleanup?
But that was the basis of the 2024 elections. In 2028, on the table would also be significantly your record in government.
Let me tell you, we are not going to allow our government to do 10% of what President Akufo-Addo have done. 10. In terms of governance deficiencies. It won't happen. I have confidence in President Mahama. And you and I know that President Mahama has no agenda, iota of contemplation to dissipate and to fleece national resources for his brothers and his family. President Akufo-Addo from day one had a motive, an objective to take from the people of Ghana for his family, and they did so with a copious document of Ajapadia. I think you have suddenly forgotten. A document they are running away from, but they have implemented every single thing in that document to the letter. That is what President Akufo-Addo represents. In fact, it's important that I state that Ghanaians should ensure that no name-bearing Akufo-Addo is allowed closer to public office. Because the record endangered our economy, endangered our national stability, and divided the country.
Is that not far-fetched?
Yes. Is that not what?
Is that not far-fetched? Every man or woman should be measured based on their track record and their own record. You cannot say that because I bear a
family of President Akufo-Addo. What is different from President Akufo-Addo?
You're talking about two. You have mentioned two people.
No, I'm mentioning two people from one family.
No, I'm saying that those two people should be measured on their records. Any other person should be measured on their own records.
Every one of them wrote at the back of President Akufo-Addo the symptomatic name bearings, one, character references, two, what they have actually done, which has manifested. If you take President Akufo-Addo and Ken Opuriata, they are not just political players, but they are family. That is his cousin. So if one person again is allowed close to power, the others will come and do the same thing.
And talking about the record you'll be taking into government, in fact, we're just looking at this is DEVEX, I believe, and they have 50 most powerful people across the world globally. And President John Dramani Mahama is number 5 on the list. And it's largely due to the Accra reset. I guess you've seen this. What are your own views on this?
President Akufo-Addo was once recognized by Forbes, but I doubt if in the history of the world, President Akufo-Addo can make it to any recognizable institutional ranking as a good president of Ghana. In Ghana, President Akufo-Addo is the worst president we have ever seen. The most corrupt president this country have ever seen is President Akufo-Addo. President Mahama came as president in 2016, between 2012 and 2016. He lost. That record of President Akufo-Addo was never achieved by President Mahama. In fact, what Ghanaians remembered President Mahama for was road construction, hospital construction, and infrastructure drive of this country. Many things would have happened, but Ghanaians remembered him for some good, memorable, monumental infrastructure drive. Today, as we speak, he's just 1 year in government, ranked at number 5 of world leaders. What it means to this country is that you have a president who is honest, a president who is transparent, a president who has natural leadership tendencies. That is what it means. It drives good name into this country. The other one was one whose brothers stole money and took the money to the foreign land. And you think the U.S. and the British, they don't know that Ken was stealing money from this country. You think the foreign institutions and foreign agencies do not know that President Akufo-Addo's ministers and appointees have stolen money, changed them into dollars, and taken it out of this country?
No, please. First of all, there's nothing on record that shows that was done. Secondly, I'm asking you about President Mahama's ranking.
I'm just telling you why President Mahama has become what he is today. And this is the reason why there is this clearant call, of which I am one, believing that we should see if there's a window for President Mahama to retain another 4 years for the sake of this country. For the sake of this country.
Another 4 years.
Another 4 years.
But the
because
man says...
I believe strongly that there's a deficiency in our constitution, given the circumstances we find ourselves. From the 2016 truncation of his first term. I strongly... The institution that did the ranking, did you read their introductory document? It says President Mahama is a Ghanaian president, 1 year in office. However, not his first consecutive term, but he is doing another term. That is what they catalog in that document. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yes, I have seen.
Check the document and you will see the headline on the document. So it doesn't matter who and who are divided alongside the issues. But I'm just saying that there is some recognition that some sort of constitutional, lacuna or deficiency has arose. This is the first time a Ghanaian president have lost power and have come back. This is the first time. This is the first time a Ghanaian president have lost power and regained power under the circumstances that President Mahama has found himself. And that given the situation prevalent, it is important we relook at the constitutional deficiencies. And I have maintained that there is some sort of deficiency that we need to cure. The cure is subject to judicial interpretation. And on any day, if of the court comes to terms with the fact that that deficiency is legal and can be cured by the court, I will be number one who will pursue on President Mahama to change his mind and refilm himself as president of this country. If he can rise within a year to become number 5 among 50 most powerful world leaders, not African leaders. Senna, you and I should be happy that at least we have a good president leading this country.
I understand that.
We have a president who it is not only Ghanaians, but even out of the country, people are watching and are seeing his footsteps.
But if you think
governing well, this man is promising. This man is a good president. And let me just read something. He says, the background. John Mahama assumed the presidency of Ghana in January. This is his second term, but not his second consecutive term. He has previously elected in 2012, but lost a re-election bid in 2016. He has also served as vice president, and it goes on and on and on. So even that institution recognizes the constitutional deficiency.
I understand that. But anyway, you call it a constitutional deficiency. I understand the point you have made. But there are a few things. One, President Mahama knew that he had 4 years if he came back under the current constitutional dispensation, but decided to do it anyway. Secondly, he has only done 1 out of 4 years. He hasn't even done 2. And you are calling for him to be given an exemption or for the constitution to be changed for him to be retained. Third, he says that he is not interested. He will not be on the ballot paper. The the committee he set up to look at the constitution again also said they spoke to him and he stated categorically he is not interested. 4, your own boss, if you have equity, was very uncharitable with anybody who held the opinion you are holding. So why are you going in this direction?
My boss's comment was at the back of the comment.
I'm not PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.